On Flight 211, things got really tense when a flight attendant told off-duty police officer Detective Mason Brooks to get off the plane. It all started with a small misunderstanding, but it got worse quickly, and Mason had to leave the plane while lots of confused people watched. But this wasn't the end of it. As Mason watched the plane leave, he looked determined. He knew this wasn't over. He remembered how the argument got out of hand as the plane flew away. All Mason did was open his small table to use his laptop and Wi-Fi before the plane took off. Since the plane wasn't moving yet, he thought it was okay. When the flight attendant saw what he was doing, she didn't say anything at first, but then she suddenly got really mad. Mason quickly apologized and put away his laptop, but it didn't help. The flight attendant said it was too late. They argued for a bit, and then Mason was told to leave the plane right away. The flight attendant even threatened to call security. Mason hesitated, but he knew it wouldn't look good if he was kicked off the plane, so he left calmly. But before he left, he took a picture of the flight attendant. He wanted to show who was treating him unfairly. He knew there might be consequences for what happened. Thinking back to the situation, Mason started to realize that the flight attendant could have seen his laptop screen as she passed by. Mason was actually working on a fairly complex case at the time. He was collecting information and evidence about the criminal practices of a nationwide network. These people were suspected of smuggling a lot of people into the country and then putting them to work in horrible conditions. When he opened his computer, he saw that he was actually looking at the profiles of some of the suspected ringleaders of this organization. Could it be that the flight attendant recognized one of these people and did not want Mason to make it to his location because of that? It seemed far-fetched but not impossible. Mason had a long, hard think about what he was supposed to do next. He, of course, wanted to bring this woman in for questioning immediately. Mason figured that if he wanted to know more about the woman, he would have to find this out on his own. All he had was a picture of her on the airplane she worked on. Mason confidently approached the airline's customer service desk, his detective badge in hand. He explained his situation, showing the staff a photo of the woman and mentioning the specific flight she worked on. His authoritative yet persuasive tone convinced the hesitant staff to share her name, Grace. Armed with this crucial piece of information, Mason felt a surge of progress in his quest for answers. Immediately after learning Grace's name, Mason booked the earliest flight to her city, demonstrating his unwavering commitment to the investigation. Upon arrival, he rented a nondescript car, blending in with the locals. After gathering Grace's address through online databases and local inquiries, he positioned his rental car strategically for optimal surveillance. From his vantage point, Mason kept a close eye on Grace's house, blending seamlessly into the suburban landscape. With each passing hour, Mason meticulously noted the routines of the neighborhood, from dog walkers to late-night joggers. This anticipation was not in vain. The moment Grace's car turned into the driveway, Mason's readiness intensified. As Grace's car lights pierced the evening's calm, Mason's vigilance was rewarded. He watched from a distance as she entered her home, the door closing softly behind her. Utilizing the cover of darkness, Mason moved closer to Grace's house with practiced caution. He positioned himself near an ajar window, the perfect vantage point for eavesdropping. Despite the tantalizing bits of dialogue, Mason knew better than to rush. He continued recording, planning to dissect the conversation later for any hidden clues. Amidst the muffled conversations, Grace's voice rose slightly, revealing a mention of an upcoming meeting. This piece of information was exactly what Mason needed, a tangible lead to follow. With the crucial information in mind, recognizing the potential risks involved in infiltrating such a place, after entering the premises, Mason delved into public records on his phone. He discovered the building was owned by a shell company linked to the criminal underworld. Mason circled the building's perimeter, camera in hand, snapping photos of exits, windows, and any peculiar markings that might signify its significance to the criminal network. These photographs would later be meticulously analyzed for any clues they might hold, forming a visual log of his findings. Utilizing his expertise in covert operations, Mason slipped inside the building undetected. He moved with precision, aware of the sounds he made, minimizing his presence. Mason expertly placed a cutting-edge wiretap in a secluded spot within the building, ensuring it was hidden from plain sight. After securing the wiretap, Mason exited the building as silently as he had entered, leaving no trace of his presence. He moved through the shadows, blending with the night until he reached his car parked at a safe distance. With solid evidence in hand, Mason wasted no time in contacting the authorities. With the evidence handed over and the report sent, Mason prepared for the police's next move. He reviewed all the information he had gathered, ensuring nothing was overlooked. As the police descended upon the hideout, Mason watched from afar, his eyes locked on the unfolding operation. The element of surprise was evident, catching the culprits off guard and triggering a wave of panic. Grace and her associates, now in handcuffs, were escorted into police vehicles, their fates sealed by the law. From his vantage point, Mason could see the suspects being taken away, their criminal endeavors halted by the collective efforts of dedicated law enforcement. From a distance, Mason witnessed the successful culmination of his investigation. He watched as the police executed their tasks with precision, each arrest a direct result of the groundwork he had laid. As the operation wound down, Mason reflected on his crucial role in the operation's success. His contribution, though unseen by many, was instrumental in bringing the culprits to justice. Feeling a quiet satisfaction, Mason acknowledged the significance of his efforts. The dismantling of the criminal network was a direct consequence of his relentless pursuit of justice. Mason took the stand, his voice steady as he recounted his investigation. The courtroom listened intently as he detailed his surveillance and the eventual capture of the evidence. As Mason's evidence was scrutinized, the undeniable truth of Grace and her associates' guilt became apparent. Each piece of evidence testified to the network's reach and their involvement. Mason's work, while bringing vindication, also opened doors to further inquiries. His findings laid the groundwork for broader investigations, hinting at the network's reach beyond the immediate suspects. The closure of this case was not an end, but a beginning, a launchpad for delving deeper into the criminal underworld. Mason's investigation took a dramatic turn when he uncovered that Grace, the flight attendant, was actually the daughter of a major player in the criminal network. This revelation added layers of complexity to the case as family ties intertwined with criminal activities. It explained some of Grace's actions and hinted at deeper motivations behind her involvement. Grace's deep-seated loyalty to her father became a central theme in the unfolding drama, her efforts to shield him from the law's reach meticulously documented by Mason. Delving deeper into Grace's life, Mason pieced together the network of relationships that blurred the lines between family bonds and criminal alliances. In her bid to protect her father, Grace inadvertently exposed weaknesses within the criminal network. Her actions, though intended to cover tracks, actually provided Mason and law enforcement with invaluable clues. As Mason watched the case wrap up, he felt a mix of emotions. He was happy to have solved the case, but he also felt thoughtful as he considered how complicated justice can be. When he saw Grace, who played a big part in the case, struggle with her role, Mason thought about the difference between right and wrong and the personal sacrifices it takes to seek justice. This unexpected turn of events showed how justice can sometimes come from surprising places, highlighting its unpredictable nature. The impact of the investigation went beyond just the legal outcomes, blurring the lines between personal grudges and the shared pursuit of justice, leaving a lasting impression on everyone involved. The case reminded Mason and Grace about the delicate balance between personal loyalty and the broader consequences of their actions, shaping how they saw justice and morality. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you like it. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.